Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a first impressions video on the Benchmade Bugout. You can see it there, 535 Bugout. And I have had and really liked the 531 Purdue, and so I really wanted to check this guy out. It's a little smaller, in fact it's quite a bit smaller than what I normally carry, but because of the lightweight of this, and because of the slimness of it, I thought this might work well as sort of a secondary carry, and so I wanted to check it out and see if it would suit my needs that way. As you can see, it comes with the typical Benchmade stuff, and there's the knife. So let me quickly run through the features, and then we can talk a little bit about size and weight, which of course is going to be the big selling point on this. And I'll talk about who, my first impressions and who I think might benefit from this knife or be interested in it. So starting with the blade, you can see that typical Benchmade stonewash. You can see the grind lines through the stonewash. So I guess you could call this a light stonewash or a Benchmade stonewash because we're all pretty familiar with that. It does say S30V on the blade in first production. It's fine that they do that, but it's not my favorite thing ever. We've got some bright blue thumb studs here. I'm going to say hard anodized aluminum, but I reserve the right to change that when I get to the full review in case I do some research and find out it's something else. And we've got some, reinforced polymer, FRN, GRN, whatever you want to call it, on the handle. Pretty interesting way that they've done the axis lock, okay? It's a little more substantial than what maybe you're used to seeing. I actually kind of like it. It's pretty easy to access, and it seems a little more stable. If you look in here, you can see there is metal to allow for, essentially there's just enough to allow for the axis lock to function properly, and that is to give it a little bit of strength into the handle and to accommodate the omega screws. And then it's sort of that honeycombed hollow pattern that you saw on the Benchmade Freak and sort of the Benchmade Boost, although the Boost did have full steel liners, which does make it a bit different. As we kind of come down here, we've got a lanyard hole, blue standoffs there, again likely aluminum just based on the weight of this. Nice little pocket clip. I've got to say I'm pretty impressed with this pocket clip. It is Parkerized rather than painted, and I got to say that's a win. And that's about all that's going on here for construction. Okay, by the way, you can see little steel inserts there so that the screws here have something to screw into, which it kind of is a necessity at this point. So that's kind of just a quick rundown of the knife. Oh yeah, let's take a look. See if I can see. Oh yeah, you can see phosphor bronze in there. So we do have phosphor bronze. That's nice to see. And for a knife that's pretty lightweight like this, it doesn't have any play. Up and down, I'm kind of, that's a little more expected. Axis locks don't usually have a lot of up and down play, but sometimes I've had Benchmades arrive with a little bit of side to side, and I've sort of had to adjust the pivot to get it out. So at this point, I don't have any. I would suspect, in 2 or 3 days when I've been flicking this knife and playing with it a bit, some side to side will develop, and I can set the pivot to where I want it. So let's grab a size and weight now that we've got some other stuff here. Let's do the ruler first, and then we'll get the scale. So overall, we're dealing with just over 7 3/8. Let me put this here so hopefully you can get a look at it. So there you go, just over. You can see 7 3/8 there, and it's basically, maybe a 30-second more than that or something like that. For blade length, we've got just under 3 1/4. And on the handle itself, hold on, let me make sure I'm exactly straight here. We've got about just over 4 1/8 inches. You can see that there now. Maybe 4 and... Does it make it quite? No, yeah, I guess it makes it to 4 3/16. So 4 3/16 on the handle, 7 3/8 overall, and just under 3 1/4 inches on the blade. So pretty small knife, especially for me. But because of the light weight, I think I can probably deal with that fairly small blade. Let's grab a weight here. There we go. It's in ounces. 1.861 ounces. So very, very lightweight, especially for its size. That is very, very good. So that's a nice number to see. And the other numbers that I normally don't give, but I thought I would because this blade is fairly thin. Hold on, guys. I'm going to do this behind the camera so I'm getting close to... Okay, now I'll bring this back. Nope, I moved it. So this is basically impossible to get, but it's actually about 20 thousandths right behind the edge. I'm measuring 22 there now, but I had 20 a second ago, so. There we go. So I am just behind the edge now. Sorry, I can't do that on screen. It's just too awkward. And it's 21 thousandths. And the blade stock on this guy, now this I can pretty easily do on camera for you. That's nice and easy. So we got 88 thousandths there. So fairly slim blade stock. Obviously, that's another measure to make this knife as lightweight as possible. And that's certainly what they've really, really aimed for here, guys, is to be very, very light, very, very compact. I've got to say they did a good job with the blade. I'm a fan of that. I like the bright blue. It's very light in hand, definitely blade heavy, fairly thin. Now the back spine, just because of the blade stock being thin, is fairly thin as well. So I wouldn't want to get too much hard work going pressing down on the back spine, but I'll obviously have more to say about that in the full review. And a couple other people have done this. So I will show you, there is some flex in that handle. You know, I'm not all that concerned about it because I don't see this as a knife that I would do anything heavy duty with. In fact, for me, and the reason I was interested in this is for, you know, something very lightweight to wear running or in workout shorts, or probably more likely for me and more, you know, in line with my typical carry habits, this would be a secondary carry. So I, you know, on the day where I'm carrying my Formax or my Curtis F3 or something else like that that's big and bulky and maybe a little bit scary, even my Bodega, you can throw this in your pocket. It doesn't take up any weight, so you're not, you know, you're not really inconveniencing yourself, and you can have a knife to pull out, you know, when I go to cut my kids' McNuggets at McDonald's or something like that, where the sheeple aren't going to freak out. So that's what I would say. You know, I wouldn't want this as my single only primary EDC, and I certainly, if, you know, if I really was going to bug out, this would not be the knife. I would want the most capable knife possible, probably a fixed blade. I get what they're trying to say. This is supposed to be like a lightweight backpacker's knife. The reality is, I would advise most backpackers, if you're going to do anything outdoors, take a fixed blade. But the lightweight is nice as a secondary carry or as a knife to carry when you're going running or when you're, you know, wearing lightweight clothing that is going to, you know, almost any knife is going to feel onerous in that pair of workout pants or something. This would drop in the pocket very comfortably and work really well. So there you go, guys. That's my first impression. And that's where I see this fitting, guys. Not as an actual bug out knife, but as a very light EDC knife or a secondary carry. I'll have more to say about that when I get to the full review, so don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.